Hi, I'm Tishika, a grade 10 student from Oberoi International School. I'm currently interning with Jamina Foundation, and I would absolutely love to get to know a little bit more about you, what you do, and how shifting from the corporate world to the sustainable one has impacted you.
Okay, so my name is Hasmukh Sapnawala,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to create a experience-based holistic learning environment for children in the forest. And while doing so, some people showed interest in living there. So along with the learning environment, we are also creating a community.
That's
Go
great.
ahead. Done.
So to begin with, I know that you left the corporate life to run the ranch you run right now, which is basically a sustainable farm. And I would love to know about your corporate life and what exactly you did then, and why you decided to shift from that world to what you do right now.
Okay, yeah, in my corporate life, I was actually working with scientists on emerging technology. So I was a consultant for emerging technology, and as a part of that, I have worked on projects which is the world's first internet bank, the world's first video on demand pilot project, which was in Jacksonville, Florida, the world's first Java smart card, several other interesting projects, including the video conferencing standards that people use today.
Mm.
And what I found there is that the technologies that I was working on were at least 10 years away from commercialization and maybe even longer from coming into the universities where people could become aware of them. And what I found is that whatever we do, research is the last thing we do, number one. And number two, for doing research, you really don't need a formal education. Also, I love nature. So I thought that we should do all this in the middle of nature. So with that particular vision, I came to India and I bought a place in the forest. And then I did some prototypes with kids. I did some.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. So, I mean, how would you describe the concept of sustainability, and what does the phrase living a sustainable life mean to you?
Sustainability. So what does self-sustainability mean? That we live in a place that has a very low carbon footprint. If at all, it has a net positive carbon footprint, which means that we put like more oxygen into the environment. We grow the food we eat, and we live with minimal stuff. We really don't have to have a 1,000 square foot bungalow for each person.
Yeah.
Just like right now where I'm living, I just have 100 square foot space. Though there is about 5,000 square feet of space that has been built, but it is there for sharing with people. Sometimes we have 50 people over there. So that again, if you see, comes to 100 square foot per person.
Yeah.
And all the construction there has been with bamboo. So that's an eco-sustainable thing over there. So again, your livelihood, the place you live in, the food you eat, that should all add to these things so that our kids follow us and make this world sustainable.
Hmm. Yeah, that's honestly so
Okay.
true. Yeah, I completely agree. But so you work on a farm, and obviously you have a scientific background. So what does a normal day for you on the farm look like, and what do you do? Who do you work with? And just like your daily routine.
Okay. So right now, I have decided that I will work with people who have interest in the things that I do. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
And most of those people are international volunteers. Unfortunately, not many people from India are into this sustainability bit yet. They still think that they are the glamour and glitz of the cities is what pulls them, what attracts them, and they think that anybody living in the village is sort of backward or has lost their mind. While people that come to my farm are mainly these international volunteers who have taken a gap year
Mhm.
and they want to learn how to build things with bamboo. They want to learn how to cook food, which is most of the time, if not raw, it is cooked minimally. Like we make smoothies, which is still raw. We
Yeah.
make salads, which is again still raw. And they're all tasty. Whatever we make is very tasty food. We do a lot of fruit. We make our own bread. We make pizza also. We make pasta also. So we do have all these things, but all with a healthy thought to it.
Mhm.
We grow things. So we grow papaya. We grow bananas. We grow coriander, basil, lemongrass. In vegetables also. We have a lot of fruit trees.
Mhm.
With all these things, it's green. We have compost toilets again, which is a healthy thing instead of
Normal.
keeping septic tanks and so on. Because so right now my thing is sharing. So in terms of scientific stuff, we do organic farming, so we don't use any chemical fertilizers or chemical pesticides. In addition, we also do scientific research over here. For example, I have a geodesic dome, which was patented by Buckminster Fuller from California. It can withstand over 200 kilometer per hour winds, and it is earthquake resistant because it's bamboo. It will bend before it breaks. To give you an idea, recently we had a cyclonic storm called Nisarg, which had 100 kilometer per hour winds, and
Mhm.
all my bamboo structures are intact. None of them was destroyed. While there were people's houses, roofs were torn off, and so on. Correct.
Yeah.
So these structures, their designs are strong. So geodesic dome, I have a geometry dome, I have a hyperbolic paraboloid, and from this kids will learn how a hyperbola works, how a parabola works. I have a geothermal, so which is like an air conditioning that works from the ground. I have a vertical axis wind turbine, solar water heater, solar photovoltaic cell, solar PV panel. So all these things are research things. So it's not just that we are doing farming, again, organic farming and permaculture based designs, but we are also doing research that helps. I have also designed a solar fruit and vegetable dryer,
Wow.
which is patentable. So I'm going to patent it and then share that knowledge with the local farmers so that when they have excess produce, they can solar dry it and then keep them for 6 months and sell them for a better price
Yeah.
instead of giving them at a throwaway price or letting it rot. So
Hmm.
all these things are encouraging me, and it's a lot of work that is going to help people around.
Yeah. So I mean, it definitely sounds like you have a very busy day and like you really enjoy your job. But what out of your like entire job, or like which is the part that interests you the most or excites you the most about your daily like routine?
So right now, I have a farm around. It is about 5 acres of land that is usable,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm calling it a proof of concept for the learning environment and for the community. Okay,
Yeah.
because it's a long-term thing. We are trying to create a community and learning space which should last 100 years at the minimum. So it's a full long-term project, and that excites me. So quite a bit trying to do the planning and trying to communicate with people, team members, and get this project to fruition. Uh, and in this scenario for the community project, we need to look at learning. It has got three pillars: learning, livelihood, and governance.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this community is about learning by doing. So I can't just do the thinking. I have to do the eco construction that is there. I have to work with the permaculture that is there. There are different people who have got teams. So that takes a lot of my time, and it's exciting.
Yeah. But what would you say now is like the hard, like I know you said that you don't necessarily dislike any part of your job, but what would you say is the hardest part of your job?
Hardest part of the job is to uh, what I would say. For example, I live a minimalist lifestyle. On my farm, there's no television and there is no newspapers. So we are saying there is no distraction. There's only attraction there. You do what you like. You don't have to get distracted by things, by information that really is irrelevant for us. And by doing that, there are many people that are still addicted to the urban lifestyle, and they think that it is their right to comfort and leisure, which is really disheartening. So, for them to work on the farm and things like that, they do it as a novelty, not as something that is sustainable. They want to do it for an hour and then go and rest somewhere. Yeah, so that sort of is a challenge. Now, I do understand that for people who have been doing a desk job for majority part of their life, it is difficult and probably strenuous, both physically, mentally, and spiritually for them to do things for long periods in a day in a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Some of them are still wanting to go on the phone and talk to their friends all over the world. trying to do video calls when there is no very little connectivity over there. People are still looking for connection on the outside instead of connection on the inside, which is what I want people to get to.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are sort of challenges. They're simple things, but it is a challenge to explain to people how beautiful the inside is. So that's why if you see on my farm, there are no mirrors.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it really doesn't bother me about how you look on the outside. It only matters how you look on the inside. And people are lost without mirrors. They are using their phone cameras to see how they look,
Yeah.
and so on. So yeah, that is my challenge: is to help people understand the beauty of living in nature with minimal things
Yeah.
and accepting nature the way it is, of learning with nature. Yeah, so that is my challenge.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I mean, you obviously run a sustainable farm. So, I mean, what elements in your farm, like you said, you have compost toilets, but what other things like that make your farm a sustainable one? And what are some projects that you have undertaken that, like, I mean, you really enjoy doing and that were like successful?
So when you say sustainability, it has to be on three sides: physical, mental, and spiritual. Yeah. So if you see anything to grow, you need water. So
Yeah.
we have done drip irrigation.
Okay.
There are different types of drip irrigation we have done, including a micro drip, which is there for poor farmers. I don't need it, but I've done it on the farm so that poor farmers can see it, learn from it. I don't want them to talk with them and they get the concept. They don't. Unless you do, uh, let them learn by doing. Correct.
Yeah.
So we have micro drip as well, and things like we are not self-sustainable yet, but we will over time. Then I do have pets, just one dog, and I have six cats. Is a different type of learning. It's like living with harmony in animals with animals too. And also
Yeah.
by rescuing dogs and cats, we are taking these animals off the street. So that's a good thing we do. So that's again a project. Now we cook our own food for our pets. We don't use pedigree food. So that is also a challenge
Yeah.
source the food from town, cook it, and then feed. Now, mind you that in the place where I live, we get over 3,000 millimeters of rain a year, and that's a lot of rain. Right now, as I said, the past 2 days there has been heavy rains here, and there's very little network connectivity. Right now, where I am in town, though I'm in town, there is no electricity here. Fortunately, my friend has an inverter, so we are running off that. So I have to create backup systems. Number one. Number two is on the farm where I am. I am 14 kilometers from town. Okay, so for me, at least me, I have to know everything: how to fix plumbing, how to fix electricals, how to fix the machines that are there. Because if I have to get help, number one, for the machines that I have are from my awareness of these machines, which are not in town. I have secured them from Mumbai, Pune, all these towns. Those tools are I have to know how to fix it. Otherwise, I have to take it to Mumbai to fix it and back. That's going to take at least 7 days, and it's
Yeah.
going to cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that is the challenge: is to be self-sufficient. You need to know how to fix things yourself. So there's a term in English is called chief cook and bottle washer. So you are the boss and you are the servant. Everything that goes in there,
Yeah.
and that is what is the challenge. Yeah.
I mean, why do you think like someone should take like live a sustainable life, and like what do you think are the benefits of living sustainably rather than just living how we usually do?
Very important point is the question: is only things that are sustainable will survive.
Yeah.
Anything that is non-sustainable will become extinct. All these
Okay.
places in the 1920s, they were just moorland, correct? MOOR, moorland. They have just been there for 100 years, and all these cement buildings. If you see, you live in Mumbai, you'll see most of those buildings after 30 years they have to be renovated. All their outside plaster is falling apart,
Yeah.
and things like that. While we have had buildings, castles, and all that are 500,000 years old, because they were built with sustainable stuff. And those type of things, you can't build them close to each other. And again, if you have cities that have no trees, trees are the lungs for us. They
Yeah.
cannot sustain. You won't have enough oxygen in these places over
That's
time,
true.
correct? Cities are having combined sewage system. They're throwing the sewage and waste garbage into the rivers and oceans and into garbage piles. Those piles are increasing. There is total disrespect for the environment. And in such situations, it is not sustainable. We are producing more garbage than we can deal with. And there has to be an end to it. If not, it will end us. So that is why I am into this sustainable lifestyle. And anything, as I said, that is unsustainable cannot last. So let's live a sustainable lifestyle and let's live it in the forest. Let's make it green. Again, each person does not even have to grow a large patch. Like if each person takes responsibility for a quarter acre patch, that will make such a huge difference.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I mean, all of those things really encourage me to take part in sustainable living because, being in a city, I think people like me usually forget to take care of our surroundings and we always end up putting ourselves before others. And obviously due to the lack of space, I can't implement as many features as you have in your farm. So do you have any small suggestions for things I could do myself at my house to live a more sustainable life?
Okay, number one, get out of the city if you can, which it may not be an option for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you can't get out of the city, means live out of the city, live where you are. But on weekends, go to somewhere around where you can volunteer and plant trees and things like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Even before that, first thing is do waste management. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And in waste management, all the R's that are there. Number one is reduce your needs. Correct. First of all, is refuse anything that is coming in that you know is in excess of what your needs are. Refuse it. Then whatever you have, reduce what you have. Like if you have 10 pair of clothes and you can live with 5, then give the other 5 away to people who need it. There are people who are living on 1 pair of clothes, so let them have a second pair. So as I said, refuse, reduce, then recycle. Correct. If you have clothes like, let's say, saris or t-shirts and things like that, which again maybe people don't want, then turn them into bags or things like that. So as I said, reduce, refuse, recycle, and then reuse. If there is something that you can reuse, for example, let's say you have a fan that is working, but now you've got an air conditioner, so you're not going to use that fan. Then see if that fan can work as a windmill, because once you reverse a fan, it becomes a windmill, it becomes an energy generator.
Oh,
And then whatever you can at home, you segregate your waste, for example, wet waste and dry waste. See if that wet waste can be turned into compost. The dry waste which is there, there's plastic. See that you can segregate it into plastic. There's recyclable, like bottles can be reused. Again, the bottles inside your home, you can turn them into a vase. Just cut the bottle in half, and it becomes a planter. You grow some plant in it. There are so many articles that you can make from waste. That is, that like tires. You can make chairs and other furniture from tires, used tires. So if you have a car and you're throwing away the tire, don't throw it. Do some things with that. You can make a swing with a tire. So there are a lot of things that you can do. And there are plants that can be grown on the terrace. So do some terrace farming, which is there. That's I would say go with that, and that should be good for people in town. And after all this, if you can still go and volunteer in spaces outside in the suburbs of a town, do it.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I will, in all honesty, try to incorporate as many of those things I can into my daily life because it really seems to be beneficial not only for us but also for the environment. And yeah, that was the last question I had. I just want to thank you so much for removing time out of your busy schedule to speak with me today and inform me about the importance of sustainable living. So, yeah, thank you.